BizMap Ptbo, Peterborough's business vlog. Each episode creates a business map to your success. We will introduce you to people and places in our city who will help you make it happen, showcasing why Ptbo is the place to live, play, and prosper.
Kawartha Family Business Group, as of next May, will be around for 10 years. And we started originally because we had a group of Peterborough people, and we all felt that there was a need for family business in this city. And we knew that a lot of family businesses existed here, and there was a reason for them to get together. So we got together with some key people in Peterborough and said, how do we start up something that would be geared just to family business? And with that, we came up with the name, Kawartha Family Business Group, and since then, we've been around for 10 years. And every year we meet about 5 or 6 times a year as a full group, and that's how it started. We hear a lot of interesting reasons for joining. Quite often people will join because their family business is in the throes of getting together to talk about succession planning, and sometimes that's a topic that can be a little bit tricky to get started. So if they are at any point in the succession planning process, if they come to our meeting and there's a natural discussion started, it just makes it a lot easier for other businesses to sort of look at it and say, they did it this way, so maybe we can get started too. They also get introduced to advisors, and sometimes advisors are critical to the process as well. So they will engage some advisors, and that just gets the whole idea of what's next for a family business. Sometimes our members are joining because they want to hear that sort of hardcore. They want to learn about accounting, about taxes, and things like that for family business. But we also know there's a really critical component that they want to hear more about the soft skills, about communicating within the family, about how to deal with conflict and that sort of thing too. So we make sure on our programming agendas, we always combine some of those softer things as well as the things like taxes and finances and things like that. So we try to cover everything off. There's so many different reasons why people join. And it's funny because sometimes people will talk about it being a networking opportunity, and they don't really realize till they walk in how important it is that how you network with another family business is very different than how you would just network with other people in the business community. So there really is this feeling of sharing and of commonality between family businesses one to the other. We are actually so surprised, pleasantly surprised, by how people will share and really want to help someone because they're another family business like their own. Quite honestly, our sponsors, our premier sponsors, are our lifeline. It is so important because they are not just our funding resource. They bring their guests, they bring members, they bring a lot to the organization. They will quite often put us in touch with some really great guest speakers just through their business connections. Our sponsors come to the events. They are, some of them are sort of high-powered people that have great contacts, so if they go to the meetings, they bring other people with them, so it's a really good source of that sort of connections as well. And they just bring a new energy. We're proud to have 6 premier sponsors. Okay, they are LLF Lawyers, BDO, Part-Time CFO, Royal Bank of Canada, Terry Windrum, and Nexicom. And they're all just, they bring a tremendous energy to the group. A couple of those, probably 2 or 3, have been with us since day one for 10 years. So we're really proud to have them as sponsors, and they do bring a wonderful element to the meetings. I would like to take a minute and talk about Erica Cherney. Most of you know Erica or know of Erica, and it's really important to tell this story because Erica, as you know, she passed away last summer, which was a real loss for Peterborough, but Erica was one of our founding members. And she was just a critical force in our organization. Everybody loved her. She brought great wisdom. She reached 82 or something, and we shared that milestone with Erica at Kawartha Family Business Group. And when she was very ill, renewal time came for her to renew her membership in Kawartha Family Business Group. And we, of course, put no pressure on her, but we did see that she renewed her membership that year, and we thought that's great because she wasn't sure at the time how many meetings she would get to. And she was telling us at the time that she could only go to one key event every day. And she chose to come to Kawartha Family Business Group in probably March. And she didn't look well, but she was there with all her energy and all her greatness around her. And then when she did pass that summer, we actually sent our condolences, but also we were delighted to see that her son Michael renewed the membership even without Erica anymore. And that really touched us.
We've been in business since 1929. My great-grandfather started the business. He was mainly making wooden fishing lures, fishing with them on the Otonabee River here close to town, and building them out of his family home on Sherbrooke Street.
My name is Kim Rhodes. I'm president of Lucky Strike Baitworks Limited. Our company has been in Peterborough for 88 years. It was started by my wife Mary's grandfather, Rusty Edgar, Frank Edgar, in 1929. Rusty was a millwright for one of the automotive companies in Windsor, and in the 1929 we had a Great Depression in our economy, and Frank's love and passion for fishing directed him towards replicating wooden baits here in Peterborough. The wooden baits became very popular over the years, and in 1931 Frank got a large order from a large Toronto distributor, which at this time he made his first loan with the Bank of Montreal here in Peterborough to finance the raw materials and labor to complete this order. From this start, the company began to become more popular in the sale and variety of the fishing lures that they made available to the market. And 88 years later, we've become a large national, international supplier of over 2,000 different fishing-related products in categories for freshwater fish and landing nets to catch your prize. One unique quality that Lucky Strike has, the family is still owned. We're going into our fourth generation of family members, which in today's world is a very unique situation. They always say that the first generation creates and nurtures a business, the second generation brings it along and builds on its roots, and the third generation usually loses the business. So we're quite fortunate that we're able to pass the business on to our oldest son, and hopefully it will continue to grow on in the family for years and years to come. One of the greatest challenges that we face is a changing retail market. As we all know, the internet has provided us with online sales, and as we continue on in the future, the internet is becoming more and more popular. We're seeing right now, and it's very similar in other industries as well, that larger customers are getting larger and smaller customers are becoming distinct. Another major challenge that we've faced is the transition in our succession plan to our oldest son, Dustin. I worked hard when I first learned the business from my father-in-law, and it seems now it's deja vu because I'm having to work all the harder to have our son succeed in the business. So it's been a great challenge, and we've learned a lot and we've changed a lot due to the innovations of today, and of course new members in the family business that bring that forward. Pros of working in a family business is, number one, job security. You're your own boss. If you only get out of a business what you put into it, if you put in a lot of effort, you likely become successful and continue to be successful. It's a big commitment. You do have to sacrifice family events for the growth of your business and the healthiness of your business. The pros are succeeding in a partnership with your family. Keep in mind, I've spent 32 and a half years working with my wife in the family business, in our partnership, and I guess one of the cons to family business, especially in a spousal partnership, you never want to take your work home with you. It's not healthy for your family relationship, but when you own your own business, it's 24/7. So one thing that my wife and I still practice today is if we have discussions at home over the kitchen table, we'll use the timer on the microwave or the stove, and we'll each give each other 2 minutes to discuss and present our points. So it is challenging, and at the same time, it's very rewarding too. Be sure that you want to sacrifice your family time to get into the business. It's always nice to have the weekends off and not work over hours, but one thing you will have to be prepared for is the commitment of your time when needed. And the best advice I could give you is be patient and respect your family partners when it comes to their side of the story, their opinions, and just be respectful of them.
We've reached out to a lot of local experts in some consulting, and they've helped drive our marketing efforts and hiring practices. We've worked closely with Community Futures Office and the Kawartha Manufacturers Association. We've been working here at the Innovation Cluster with some marketing initiatives and the colleges in helping to come up with new innovations in the way we manufacture and the actual products we're manufacturing as well. Greatest challenge in the last 5 years, the retail landscape's changing drastically with some retailers closing and us having to kind of rethink where fishing lures are being sold and how they're being sold, and having a little bit more online. We've been faced with the challenge then where we used to manufacture giant lots of fishing lures, the same lure over and over again, and sell them to distributors. Now we have to get much smaller and making exactly to order and shipping direct to people. We've had a lot of challenges that we've faced with growing along with this new trend, and it's rewarding though to be able to see the product out there in all these stores still and have people reach out directly to us and share their pictures on social media and landing really large fish, thanking us for giving them that opportunity with those lures. Is really rewarding. Pros of working in a family-run business, I find that when it comes time to decision making, our values are aligned because we've all grown up together, been raised together. It sometimes is helpful when reaching common ground to make a decision. There's obviously cons in a family business too, and that emotion can creep in sometimes to those business type decisions. You've got to just try to establish some clear roles and responsibilities for each of the people, the family members involved in the business, to try and keep that emotion out and make it business-like decisions. We're about 50% through a transition plan that we've had. It's obviously tough to navigate. You don't want to push some family members out, and we're all getting along and making everything work really well right now. That we do have a succession plan in place, and it's about 50% complete, but there's another several years ahead of us before we actually can finalize anything. I often tell people if they're looking to get involved in a family business that exists now, to look at taking 5 years after your schooling, working somewhere else so you can bring that experience to your family business, as opposed to jumping straight into it and not knowing what else you would have learned outside of that. Also really, really important to establish clearly defined job roles so that each of the family members can avoid stepping on each other's toes or overlapping, and that just helps deal with any future conflict that could come up.
Canadiana has been around about 14 years. My dad, Bill, he's been part of it the entire time, and I joined in 2011, which is when we opened up our production in Peterborough. We've been in contact with the Kawartha Family Business Group, and they've been a really great help to connect us with other groups in the area. After connecting with Kawartha Family Business, we realized there's a lot more opportunity to explore with the support in the community. As for unique qualities, I guess obviously being a family business and having that, it does, there's a lot more passion. We've been able to find employees that are like-minded and also really take pride in what they do, and we know that quality is the #1 focus. We know that we're customer-oriented and that we're going to strive to make sure it's perfect and exactly what the customer is looking for. We have the flexibility to produce everything made to order, so that way anything they want or any specific things they're looking for, we're able to satisfy those requests and end up with a product that didn't need to compromise to get exactly what they were asking for. The greatest challenge in the last 5 years, I think just growth in general. About 6 years ago, we started with 5 or 6 guys, and now we have 20. And with that growth, communication changes, the way procedures happen, those change. There's a lot of different things that you have to think about when there's more people involved. There's a lot more opportunity, but at the same time, it's a greater challenge if you're not set up to deal with that many people. I would say that's our just growth and dealing with it, understanding where the focus needs to be at any given time, because it does jump around a lot, would be the greatest challenge we've dealt with.
My name is Bill Barker. I'm the president of Canadiana Cabinetry Limited, and we're a cabinet manufacturer here in Peterborough, Ontario. Canadiana has been a name that I've been associated with since 1993. We started manufacturing in Peterborough in 1995, moved to Sudbury, Ontario in about 98, and then moved back to Peterborough in 2011. So we've been around, and we've been supplying people in Ontario with kitchens for all that time. We built the business with the idea of being a servant. I believe that you need to serve your clientele. We need to sell things, make a profit, but the real reason for being here is to serve people. And we found the best way to serve people was providing them with good quality cabinets for their homes, for their businesses, good value for the money, well-made product. We provide our employees a decent place to work. I think we're an active contributor to the community and to the health of the province, and that's really the key, I think. I think the biggest challenge is I'm getting old. Yeah, I think it was a bit of a struggle. We always had business because we sold wholesale to the greater Ontario community, so we always had work. But to establish a presence here in Peterborough, to sell retail, to sell to the public, to have a showroom, being able to get into our own building and have control over our own environment was a big struggle. We've been well received in the Peterborough marketplace. I think that was our biggest challenge. The second one would be finding men and women who are interested in working with their hands. Qualified cabinet makers are rare, scarce. Pros, I guess, is that there's a certain amount of trust. There's a philosophy that we agree upon, so our motives are the same. It's nice to know that someone's got your back who doesn't have ulterior motives or can be attracted somewhere else. It's not likely that my son is going to be stolen away by a higher paying job. But there's just a sense too of building something that brings value to the family as a whole, to see my son grow in his experiences, and to just take on all those things that I created over the last decades is quite exciting. And to see his family benefit from this too is quite satisfying. Cons, well, it's never over. It's hard not to talk about stuff at the family dinner table. My wife is good at pointing out that, no work talk, no shock talk. So that's a bit of a challenge. And I think you also bring the emotional issues that come from growing up together. The little dynamics between parents and children sometimes come into play, but mostly we've had quite good success at working together. We have discussed it. The intent is that my son will take over the company. He came to the company later in his career, and really enjoys it and thinks this is something he wants to pursue. So we built our corporate structure with that in mind, so it should be easier to transition when the time comes for me to take that second foot out of the door. And but we still are seeking some planning advice from our accountant and some of the other facilities available in the city. I think most people don't start family businesses. They start a business to do something that they like or that they think would be successful, but then they can become family businesses in many cases, not always. But it's the same for any business, family or not. You need a good business plan. You need to understand the market that you are selling to and be comfortable that you can provide something that people want. Because if the business itself is not viable, the fact that it's family is not going to make it any better. So you really need to understand, talk to your bank. They can give you all kinds of help for providing a business plan. They're all there to give you assistance to put together a package that makes sense, so you can understand if this is viable or profitable, if there's really a need for what you're doing. So in that scenario, family is the second most important thing. And once you've got a business plan and you understand how you're going to fund it, then you work your plan and you adjust as you go along. But just to get up in the morning with a great idea and go out the door and say, I'm going to do this, is probably in this economy a recipe for failure. But I encourage, don't want to rain on anyone's parade, but you really need to put effort and time and be cautious with the finances, and just crawl before you walk and walk before you run. And I think you have work hard, be honest with people, do a good job, and you're likely to succeed.
I would like to talk about one meeting that really stood out as being different. We had Arnie Strub from Strub's Pickles, and we literally found Arnie online. We approached him and thought he had a great story to tell, because most people have heard of Strub's Pickles. And we knew he had an interesting twist on his story. So we talked to him on the phone, and he came to join us as a guest speaker. And he literally told us what not to do when you have a family business. He and his brother had owned the business together. Things had gone sideways financially, there was a ton of pressure, and he made a move that he now regrets. It also is sorry to say that he also is not in a relationship anymore with his brother. They haven't spoken since. So it was really different for our members to hear a story like that, because it's not always a good outcome. And certainly when thinking about succession planning, all those things, all those personal things have to be factored in. And Arnie was really clear in telling us to make sure that family and relationships have to be the critical decision-making factor in a situation like that. One thing we have learned is the importance of the family business brand. It's really been, we've had several different guest speakers that talk about marketing, and they have proof, they have statistics that prove that people trust a family business brand. And it's been proven over and over again that when a business markets themselves as a family business, there's an immediate trust, there's immediate loyalty. And I think the thinking, and it's a proper perception, is that if someone has a family business, they're in it for the long haul. They're looking for a legacy business. They're looking for a business that's still thriving for their children, their grandchildren, and so on. So it's not about the almighty dollar as much as making sure that business is viable and sustainable. So it really gives that extra power to the idea of a family brand. I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to BizMap Ptbo. This has been a really excellent opportunity for us to talk a little bit more about Kawartha Family Business Group. We're excited that we had so many members that were enthusiastic about getting involved and being videotaped and being part of this exciting adventure. So thank you.